Hey guys, welcome back to Easy Life. Today we continue our Season 2 Ronnie O'Sullivan career mode at the Shanghai Masters in the semi-final, taking on Jack Lisowski in the semi-finals. So, this is Season 2, Part 7, so let's get into this. 0-0 going into this first episode, so yeah, looking forward to it. So I'm going to best of 19, first one to win 10 frames, gets a spot in the final, which I believe final will be first to 11, best of 21. I think that's what they did in the Shanghai Masters. So yeah, best of 19 frames. So yeah, hopefully we can build a big lead in these first couple episodes. So yeah, I intended to play 9 frames over the first 2 episodes. I know I intended to do that at World Championship and it didn't work out so well. But well, Jack Lisowski, the virtual Jack Lisowski, who a player we haven't played yet, looks a lot more like the real Jack Lisowski than the picture of him that we saw just before it. Well, I'll say it looks like a real Jack Lisowski, but it looks more like a he looks like a much older version. It looks like Jack Lisowski, but 30 years old. Like not. Well, I don't know how old he is, but it looks like a really old version of Jack Lisowski. Like he just looks like he just looks like Jack, or maybe he's a kid. I don't know. But he don't look like Jack Lisowski. It looks like Jack Lisowski, but with a beard or something. I don't even know if he has a beard in that picture. He doesn't in real life. Well, I'm not a notice support one anyway. That was a daring shot to open up the match, but it certainly was a good one, I'll tell you that. It's not how you want to start your match off, handing your opponent a nice easy chance like this to get themselves going. I mean, this is the last thing. This isn't how I wanted to start the match, not at all. Got plenty of time in this match though. First one's 10 frames. So yeah, a bit like the World Championship, nice long match, plenty of time for a comeback. So yeah, so I'm just going to be playing 1 episode a day on this match, I think. And then when the time comes, if I get to the final, I'll do what I did for the European Masters final, which is actually what I plan to do for every single final. I've planned my video schedule so that the final of each tournament would be like that. So at the final, I do a session a day to 2 episodes a day. Because, celebrate getting to the final, Best of 21 frames. It's a long match. I think doing 4 frames a day will kind of drag it on a little bit. Imagine getting to the World Championship final. I was hardly going to play 4 frames a day on that. That would have bored you. I mean, that would have been like 9 days of videos, potentially. That could have been very boring. So, yeah, I was planning to do it just 4 or 5 days of videos. I'll probably do the Shanghai Masters final in 2 or 3 days, depending on how I do it. I'm thinking in the first session, if I get this far, of course, let's not get too presumptuous. I'm thinking in the first session I'll do 5 episodes in the 5 frames in the first episode, 5 in the second, so that's 10 frames, and then 5 in the third, 5 in the fourth. Maybe I'm being a bit ambitious. I'll cut it to 4 if I have to. So a lot of 5 frame episodes basically. And then, if I need to go into a 5th episode, I will. An overspill for a deciding frame or something. Or no, in fact, I'll do 5-5, 4-4, and then remaining frames, because that'll take us to 18 frames, so 11-7. I don't actually think he's on anything here, unless there's a plant. No. Maybe there was, but he didn't go for it. So we do get our first chance of the frame, and we are only 38 behind. Perhaps much more lenient than what we'd expected when we first gave Jack that great chance. And that's a good shot. It's a very good shot to start things off. In this frame. For us, our first part of the match. Never really settle until you win that first frame, they always say. So, do want to win that as soon as possible, and I definitely had an experience of that, not in Snooker 19, but in real life. I was trailing the match quite heavily. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. Now at this point, I just became scared. I didn't want to lose 10-0, because I knew I wasn't playing very well at all. I was struggling. My opponent was really good, and I just knew this is it for me. I'm done. I'm going to lose 10-0. 6-0, 7-0. And then I said, I cannot play anymore today, I'm going in. I'm going home. I'm not doing this anymore. And then luckily for me, my opponent didn't really turn up on the next frame that well. Didn't play as well. I got a few chances, bit of comfort. Was able to take the frame, 7-1. Consolation. Huge consolation. I avoided 10-0. From there, I knew that once I'd won a frame, I knew for a long time in that match, like even from 5-0, that once I won a frame, that I'd be back in the match. I'd win it. I could win it. I didn't win the match, but 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. Eventually only lost the match 10-7. So, you know. And reason why I won all those frames the reason I was able to win all those frames and make the comeback was all because of the significance. I won that first frame. I was settled. I wasn't bothered about embarrassment. The idea of being embarrassed and losing 10-0 was off the cards. I only had to focus on winning. I didn't have to focus on avoiding an embarrassing defeat. And you know, 7-0 down or such a heavy deficit, you probably don't expect to win it. So you're playing with a bit more freedom. But you know you can win if you play well enough. And I certainly was playing good. You know, got 7-3. I went 8-3 down actually, but I could easily have gone 8-4. Sorry, 7-4. Because I only missed, it was only a final black, I lost that one, and wow, that was close to being missed. Yes, it could have been 7-4, and you know, I would have got back to 7-6. I could have got that match even, you know. When I got back to 9-7 in that match, I realised how well I'd done to get back into that match. I thought, I don't believe I've come back into this match this much. Like, I was 7-0 behind. I've effectively won 7 out of the last frames. I've won 7-2 since then, basically. I mean, you know, that's no mean feat. You're 7-0 down. Here goes tough pot. That was sweet. That was some sweet striking. Yep, good shot. Got a chance to play for one of those 2 reds. And by the cushion. Gonna play a very controlled cannon here. Oh, well, messed that right up. Needed to hit the power bar, but, well, luck's got the better of that, and I'm nicely on this red, I have to say. Fortune favours the brave. Fortune favours the better player. What do you want? Let's deal with this part of the table first. I didn't intend to play it into this pocket that I'm going to play the red into, but I'm playing it into that one because of the situation. I would have liked to have played it into the other one because that's what I planned, and it's slightly closer to the other pocket, I think, but it doesn't really matter too much. Need to avoid that black. Sure, I can do that, but this cue ball's going to travel. It's close to the middle pocket, but it's not going in, which is fine. Now, I need to find a way of landing on this red. Right, I'm just going to drop this yellow in, try and land on it, I think. Played an ugly little shot there, an ugly little swerve. Oh, hit it too hard, I've just rested on the yellow. Would you believe it? Would you believe it? Well, as a consolation, I can skim this. I think my form isn't going to be as good as it was against Judd Trump in this match. Because I don't feel as obliged to play as well. I mean, I know that's no insult to Jack Lisowski, but it's just, that's not meant as an insult to Jack, but it's just kind of a natural thing. You look at Judd and think, you get scared. You get scared when you hear Judd's name, and you know you got to play him. You think, oh no, how many times has he won titles? He wins titles just like, he wins more titles. He wins like more titles than, I don't know, century breaks that he makes, probably. You know, he's that good. And no offence to Jack, because he's a good player too. He gets to so many finals. Just comes up against too tough a player, and maybe he'd like, if next time he got to a final, he comes up against somebody who isn't as experienced as winning, and not just winning, beating him in the final, you know. That's why it's becoming a harder and harder task for Jack each time, you know. His defeats are getting heavier and heavier to Judd. First time 10-7, second time 9-2, and the next time a whitewash, 4-0, but okay, you could say 9-2 is heavier than 4-0, but you could say also 4-0 is more embarrassing because it's a whitewash. So yeah, we've needed 2 bites of the cherry in this frame. But yeah, what I'm saying about Judd and Jack, sorry, about Jack not feeling as scared, it's just, I don't think Jack, I just don't like see Jack as like, as scary as a player as Judd. Like, maybe I should. Maybe they do play good, both play really good in this game, but it just sounds, Jack Lisowski's not been in the top 16 for as long as Judd, so maybe he's not as experienced, so maybe he's going to play worse, but that ain't really going to have an effect on this game, and it's always going to fool me, that. That's an all-round good frame, this has been, you got to say.
Looking to run this along the cushion.
That seals the deal.
And that is the frame.
There you go. We lead by 1 frame to 0. And Jack Lisowski breaking off in the second. So we got a chance that we needed, and we bloody well took it. Now John Creese says, no mercy. Don't feel merciful for stealing that frame. That's not a bad shot, but I don't really see the value in trying to pot this pink unless I can nab position on this red, so I'm going to try, and I always feel like when I say those words I screw up royally, or something like that, or just something like that, you know, something like that.
Drop this into the middle pocket.
I've got the pink. How's position? Well, position is something that's taken care of itself with the pink going somewhere else on the table. Just a shame we didn't get higher on this red, you know. But I'm going to play into the bunch off the blue here. And that is a big shame, because unless his cue ball runs, which it hasn't done, no. That's a big shame. Because not only this, but I need to get to a red. So I'm just going to have to blast this.
That hasn't really worked out at all.
Nah, it hasn't worked out at all, according to Dave, so. It was all about the fact that I underhit that red to get to the blue. Unless them two are a plant, which I feel like trying to make. I feel like these two can be made. No. I think we might have left this red. I think we have, yeah. Dave sounds a bit disapproving of that, so I think we have left the red. I kind of just played that shot out of frustration, really. A bit annoyed not to have got the angle on the blue, but hey, we're going to be getting another chance virtually immediately unless this goes in. I don't see this going in. You know, he ain't even won a frame yet, so highly doubt this is going in. Nah, didn't go in.
Jack Lisowski, 6. Good split.
That was confident, that shot.
Taking this on. That's well played with the rest.
Well, that was a fluke. That was a good fluke. You know, tried to pinch a bit of pocket, didn't do it. No commentary. I stayed silent myself, and it went in. Wow. Some luck. I'm playing full ball into the pink here. I'm riding my luck a little bit.
Looking to play this with a lot of power.
No foul. That's why I said I was riding my luck a little bit. I did think that there was a potential foul, because that is always the risk with going into them from the blue, but it doesn't normally happen. So I just rode my luck a little bit, and this is the consequence, really. This is the result. Whatever's going to happen here. Just checking up on the Championship League scores. Oh, Judd Trump and Rod Lawler have finished. No, Judd Trump beat Rod Lawler 3-1, that's a shame. I was hoping Rod could have kind of put up a fight, you know, but it's good that he managed to win take a frame off the wall number 1, you know. Really impressive. It's a shame for Rod. But certainly not free-flowing stuff from Judd, I'll tell you that. He ain't made any big breaks by the sounds of it, so, you know, Judd's not on his best, so, you know, I don't think Judd's winning this event, I'll tell you that.
Jack Lisowski, 40.
Now, I don't know when this video is being published. I think it's the week after the Championship League finishes, so yeah, obviously I'm talking about the past now for you guys, but look, what I'm saying, I'm filming this, the date I'm filming this is Friday the 6th of August, no lie at all. If the player that I'm going to say wins, I've already said his name a few times before, then that's proof that that I've got a good prediction. That I should be a commentator, but I think Erzenbacher's a dark horse in this tournament, Alexander Erzenbacher. And if he's won this event, because obviously you guys will know at the time, then you could say I've done a very good prediction. Based off his first round though, you know, not dropping a frame, and he wasn't top seed. I know he didn't make any big breaks, he said he didn't expect it, maybe he's not a dark horse, but that's part of what makes a dark horse, not expecting it yourself, and just doing well. I think he's a dark horse for this tournament, Erzenbacher. So, yeah. Calling Erzenbacher here. You know, he beat O'Sullivan at the UK Championship at the end of the day. He qualified for the Crucible last year. You know, I think qualifying for the Crucible is probably more impressive than beating O'Sullivan at the UK, because I heard not long ago, a couple of weeks ago I think, it's one thing to beat a top player, but it's another to beat them at their best. O'Sullivan that day was far from his best. O'Sullivan played absolutely rubbish that day, really, against Erzenbacher, and O'Sullivan kind of admitted it, so, you know, I don't think it was kind of like a shock that, I don't think it was kind of like flabbergasting that Erzenbacher beat O'Sullivan that day. I just think that was down to O'Sullivan playing appalling. You know, all Erzenbacher beat that day, he didn't beat a vintage Ronnie O'Sullivan, he just knocked out the name of O'Sullivan out of the tournament. So I can't say he beat, I can't say he played that well. I mean, I don't say he played badly, but I'm not saying he would have had to play a lot better to beat vintage O'Sullivan, you know. Vintage O'Sullivan probably would have beaten Erzenbacher 6-1, 6-2. I don't think Erzenbacher would lose 6-0 to O'Sullivan. I think he's not that bad. I think, you know, I think Erzenbacher's a pretty good player, you know, pretty good talent, you know. It's nice to see this talent. It's nice to see more talent emerging from mainland Europe as well, I suppose, in the game. It's just interesting to see, you know. You know, got a few tournaments in Europe now. They have a few events. They got the European Masters, obviously. They got the German Masters. They've got the Riga Masters in Latvia. They've also got the Turkish Masters, but I'm not quite sure if that's in Europe. It's in Antalya, in Turkey. I've been there actually, but I don't know if it's a European city or a. Oh, I've just dropped my controller. I don't know if it's a European city or a Asian city. I'm not quite sure. Turkey's one of those transcontinental countries, so it's kind of a hard one to pick. I think it says it's European on the. I think this World Snooker Tour have said it's in Europe, like it's one of Europe's finest cities or something, but I'm pretty sure when I searched it into the internet, it said it's in Asia, so I'm really not sure. It said like only 3% of Turkey's in Europe. Like I didn't think that little. I thought a lot more of Turkey was in Europe than just 3%, but yeah. I think it's that little bit by Romania. I think it borders Romania. But that aside, it looks like Lisowski's going to be nabbing this second frame off us. But yeah. So they got those tournaments. I think they're the only European tournaments they got. The only tournaments out in Europe. I don't think they got a tournament in Belgium. They might have the. They're the European Masters. They kind of carry it over the continent, but they haven't got one in Belgium for Brussels. They haven't got one in Switzerland for Erzenbach. They ain't got one in Norway for Maflin. They haven't got one in Germany or Ukraine for Kleckers and Lichtenberg in Germany and Julian Boyko from Ukraine. So I don't think those countries have got tournaments yet. Hopefully they do. But I think another interesting thing is they've got a lot of tournaments. They got tournaments in the UK. They got tournaments in They got a tournament in Northern Ireland. I don't actually think they got a tournament in actual mainland Republic of Ireland. I know they got the Northern Ireland Open, but they haven't got one in the Republic of Ireland, as they call it. I don't know why. Considering Ken Doherty, from the Republic of Ireland, has won the World Championship. I think he's the only player to do so for the Republic of Ireland. Alex Higgins and Dennis Taylor have both won it, but they're Northern Irish, so. And they've got a Northern Ireland tournament, so Northern Ireland Open Home Nations event. But I think maybe they could have an Irish tournament. But they've taken over a lot of the world. They've got tournaments in the UK. They've got tournaments in Europe. They've got tournaments in Asia.
He's left a chance. It's not easy.
I've left a chance? What? Dave just said I left a chance. I thought, what? Yeah, they got tournaments in Asia. I think they have got an Australia Open. Or certainly they used to. I'm not sure if they do have, actually. So, but they got Neil Robertson from Australia. So And then they got the whole of the North America and South America completely untouched. I don't know why. They got two massive continents completely untouched. We got Igor Figueiredo from Brazil. And I think if Igor Figueiredo, he's on the second year of his 2-year tour card. He nearly qualified for the Crucible last year. I think a lot of people wanted him to qualify. A lot of people in the comments section on that Judgment Day on YouTube seemed to want him to qualify over Mark Joyce. Personally myself, I was just supporting Joyce because I quite liked Mark Joyce, Watched him play a few years ago. I thought he was really good. Unlucky not to make the UK Championship semi-final back in 2017, I thought. Ryan Day kind of robbed him of that semi-final chance. But yeah. Looks like we're handing over another frame. But yeah, talk about the Snooker Empire. That sounds a bit... Snooker Empire. But yeah, they've got the whole of America the whole of North and South America completely untouched by snooker, effectively. I think they said there used to be a Brazilian Masters, but man, you got a Brazilian player on tour. At least have one now. I mean, the guy's literally telling you he doesn't go, he can't visit his family because it's going to cost too much money. I mean, give him an excuse to go home, and that will do good for you as well by enabling you to take snooker to another continent and surely spread snooker, Because the more they spread snooker around the world, the more popular it's going to become, Pool's popular worldwide, I'm sure. Pool's considered a chill game. Snooker's probably a bit more, less chill, a bit more brain power, I suppose. A bit more effort. And it's probably less popular overall, and maybe some people, a lot of people don't really play snooker. They look at it as kind of like a rubbish version of pool.
21.
I personally look at it the other way around. Pool's like a rubbish version of snooker. I don't get why people think snooker's such a bad sport. Like, snooker's so exciting. It's such a good game. Like all the commentators, all the snooker fans, everyone loves it. All these commentators, I suppose the commentators are gonna love it. I mean, it is their job at the end of the day. I don't think there'd be snooker players and snooker commentators if they didn't like the game. And I think it's more than just being good at it. I suppose they do genuinely love the game. But yeah, I feel like Igor Figueiredo, you know, he's on his second year of his 2-year tour card. If he could just, you know, he's not a million miles out of the top 64. If he could just kind of press up the rankings a little bit more, get himself into that top 64, get another season on the tour card, get another season on the tour after this one, you know, it'd probably inspire a lot more players from Brazil and, you know, just South America in general, perhaps. I don't know about the whole South America, but certainly Brazil, you know, they'd probably look up to him, or they'd probably kind of respect him. He'd probably be, you know, probably be looked up to in Brazil. I suppose, you know, if he managed to get into the top 64, top 32, well, we've got a chance now. But yeah, if he managed to get into the top 64, top 32, I feel like he'd leave a legacy for not just himself, but for Brazil. And because, you know, he's in his mid-40s, he was playing in the Seniors Championship a few months ago, you know, back in May. And he did a good job, he was pretty good. So he's in his mid-40s, he's getting old, he knows he's coming to the end of his career as well, I think, he said. And so it would be good if in these next few years for him he could leave a little legacy for himself and for the rest of South America, and maybe, you know, inspire more players from South America and Brazil in general just to play snooker. And meanwhile, that was an absolutely awful shot. And yeah, he could inspire more players from South America to perhaps become professional. You never know, we might start seeing some more Brazilian players on the tour. And I feel like that would be a catalyst to... That was a superb recovery. I feel like that would be a catalyst to, you know, or a... I don't know what the word is, a sign or a cue? A cue, yeah, a cue, no pun intended there. A cue for the World Snooker Tour to take snooker over to Brazil and bring a tournament there, you know. I don't know why they don't, you know, because they're getting all excited about the tournament in Turkey this year, which is great, you know. It's brilliant. They've effectively got another country. They've brought snooker to another country, you know. The more they do that, the better, you know. The more they do that, the better. The bigger money, and you'd assume that the more tournaments they have, the more countries they bring it to, the more popular snooker is going to become worldwide, and you just assume that that's going to bring more money into the game, increase snooker's overall popularity, and make it one of the biggest sports in the world. I think that's probably why it's not as popular as something like football, which is, come on, you have to say football's pretty worldwide. I mean, every country's got a national football team, haven't they? Even if it's not a very good team, you know. Some teams are obviously better than others, like by a long way. Like, I don't think India, for example, has ever qualified for the World Cup. Someone like Brazil, on the other hand, has won it 5 times. Then you could say Brazil's probably not so interested in snooker, since they got one of the best football teams in the whole world. Like, they've only won number 3. They've only won the World Cup more than any other team in the world. So, you know, but still, you know, Igor Figueiredo, I think he said he likes football, but he chose snooker. I don't think he's the first player to say that. You know, snooker's a great game. Oh my god, have I just tied up the black spot? I've just tied up the black spot, haven't I? Oh, yes, I was hoping that would happen. It's spotted on the pink spot. What a relief. What a let-off for us. So yeah, I feel like if they could just kind of make snooker... If Igor Figueiredo does well, it'd probably inspire more players from Brazil to play snooker, presumably. Well, not play snooker, I'm sure players do. I'm sure they do play snooker in Brazil. Well, yeah, they do. They definitely do. Apparently, even, what's his name? Figueiredo, he goes, Neymar loves snooker. He goes, the whole Brazil football team's got a snooker table in their house. They all love it. They're really good at it, you know. But at the end of the day, they chose football over snooker, so they can't love it that much. They've all chosen football over snooker. You know, they are pretty good though, so it is forgivable. They are one of the most dangerous teams in the world. Although you could say otherwise after they lost 7-1 to Germany, thanks to a lack of having Neymar on their team that day. But there you go. They just squandered their World Cup in one match. and quite literally it was their World Cup, you know. They were the hosts that year as well, let's not forget. It was the Brazil World Cup. Brazil 2014. Germany's most recent title. But yeah. So I think, yeah, you know, they've got the tournament in Turkey, which is really good, you know, it's really impressive. This is absolutely disgusting if this doesn't drop. Wow. That's good. This has been a good counter clearance, you'd have to say. Especially considering we've been talking about something completely different, which is how they're going to get snooker across every continent in the world, even Antarctica. I think that might be a little... yeah. Next season, we're going to World Snooker Tour. What's the first thing that comes up in the news section? We're going to Antarctica. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there might be a limited number of players in that tournament not wanting to go to such a cold country, or just a cold continent. I don't know if it's called. I don't know if it's a country, Antarctica, or if it's just a continent. Actually, I'm going to search that up now on my phone. I don't think it is a country. I don't think they're going to take a tournament to Antarctica either. Let me have a look. Okay. There are no countries in Antarctica, although 7 nations claim different parts of it. New Zealand, Australia, France, Norway, the United Kingdom, Chile and Argentina. The Antarctic also includes island territories within the Antarctic Convergence. I have no idea what that last bit means, I'm just reading off the internet. I thought rather than putting it into my own words, I'll let you guys figure out what it means, because I'm not really too focused on that. I just want to play a decent safety shot here. I'm very, very happy though to have taken that last frame. I mean, I look for all the world to have just thrown another frame down the pan and going 2-1 down. I think I might have left this red. I don't think the blues covered it. But it's not easy to go. I don't know. I might have left it, but I don't think he got it. So I'll go down this side of the table. You know, there is a red covered, so it's probably going to get away with it. So, well, I've just played an absolutely disgusting safety shot, missing them all together. And put in. If I miss this again, I'll be warned. We're warned of losing the frame, and that will not be pleasant. We've hit it this time. We've pushed the red out, and we're gonna leave it on unless, well, we have left it on, but it's so ugly, so untempting that I don't think he's gonna take it. See, as I was saying, yeah, they got a tournament in Turkey, which is really good, but which is kind of surprising because there's no players on the tour from Turkey, not that I know of anyway.
No more than half chance here.
So, but then again, there's no players on the tour from Latvia. They got earlier in this video, I said there's no tournaments in Germany, didn't I? Sorry, there is a tournament in Germany. I said there's Simon Lichtenberg and Lucas Kleckers from Germany, but there's no tournament in Germany. Sorry, there is a tournament in Germany. How could I forget that? Just because I didn't play it last season doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. German Masters, of course. I don't know how I forgot that. That's the biggest tournament. Well, it's not the biggest tournament in Europe. Probably joint with the European Masters. Now am I on a red? Neil don't sound too approving, I'll tell you that. Well, we got in with some extremely thin pot, so if we can get it then, surely we can do it again.
No problems with the rest there.
Another good shot. We're going to be on the pink by the looks of things. Yep. It's a very nice shot. So I've spent much of this episode discussing how snooker's going to take over the world, which, you know, it would be nice to see. But they haven't got any players from Turkey, but they've got a Turkish Masters. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Not at all. It's good. It's probably just going to work. It's probably just going to do the opposite effect. Rather like with Brazil, I was talking about Igor Figueiredo. eventually triggering a tournament in Brazil. And this could have the opposite effect. A tournament in Turkey could bring out players from Turkey. You don't know. I'm sure there might. I'm sure there probably was Turkey. I'm sure there have been Turkish players in the past, but not any that I can think of off the top of my head. But they got so many countries untouched. Oh yeah, there was that tournament last season that they were going to do in Saudi Arabia. Of course, they didn't do it, I'm assuming, because of COVID, which is perfectly understandable. I'm assuming it was because of COVID. I mean, they wouldn't have just forgotten about it. That would. I mean, you don't just forget about a tournament. That'd be silly. I mean, they've got technology and all. They're not going to forget about it. I mean, that's impossible. So they didn't do it, or not that I know of, unless they did it undercover or didn't tell anyone about it. But they'll make it a big hoo-ha about it, if you like. We're going to Saudi Arabia. We're doing a big tournament, big news, there's big money, and then all of a sudden it doesn't go ahead, and we're like, what? What was this Saudi Arabia thing? You're talking about it as if it's the next World Championship. You're talking about it as if it's a Triple Crown event. It's only 7 days. What Triple Crown event do you know there's 7 days? I certainly don't know any. There's Masters, 8 days, UK Championship, 13 days, and UK Championship's debatable. You've got 9 televised days, 14 days beginning to end, but only 13 of them are played on matches, and before it was 13 days, but only 12 play matches, so a weird one. And the World Championship, of course, a grand total of 17 days. I was going to say the biggest tournament, but you actually got Championship League, 21 days, so. Well, certainly this year is 21 days. This one that's just been on for you guys. And Jack Lisowski, you know, he's oopsie daisy, that was silly. You know, that was a poor shot really from us not to go onto that black. Probably should have done that, and this is the result. You know, it's looking like he's on a break here, 35. He could go on to clear up. You know, I don't see too many stumbling blocks unless he just does an outrageous miss, which I don't see happening. I mean, this is a pretty tight match, I'd have to say. You know, about to be 2-2. This is probably what you'd want out of a match in Snooker 19. You're not getting completely thrashed, but you're not having an easy ride. It's always a fun match that way. You know, your opponent's missing, but you're not completely cruising. You are having to fight a bit, and you are having to, you know, produce good clearances. And the 2 frames we've won so far, we've come back from a long way behind in them. I think. You know, so this could easily be 3-0, and you know, Jack Lisowski's had a good chance in this frame. If he was 3-0 up, he probably would have made it 4-0. So we probably could easily have been miserable at the end of this episode, 4-0 down, if it weren't for taking advantage of those chances. I don't know how I've played this well with not even focusing on the match. Like, well, certainly what I'm saying. I probably in my head I'm focused on the match, but my mouth is just focused on talking about Snooker taking over the world effectively. Something I find very interesting like that, I suppose. But I just think that Igor Figueiredo could be very big as a player, you know. Let's take Snooker to another continent. And then you got the whole of the United States. In fact, you got the whole of Russia. Now, can they get Snooker to the biggest country in the world? I don't know. They've got, I'm pretty sure they haven't got any players from Russia. Not that I know of, anyway. It's the biggest country in the world, you know. If we could somehow get a tournament out there, that would be huge. You know, they've done it in Turkey and they're really proud of it, thinking that they're colonising. I don't know about colonising, if that's the right word. I don't really know what that means. But it's just a word that's used in this kind of thing. But yeah, building their empire across the world, if you like, Snooker are. And I think that's what they're proud of, getting the Turkish Masters going. I think that's why they were proud of the Saudi Arabia tournament. I don't know, did they get rid of that Saudi Arabia tournament because of COVID? Because some people were complaining about the fact that they were doing a tournament in Saudi Arabia. They didn't quite like the idea. They were complaining that it had awful human rights record or something. Saudi Arabia did. So I heard that somewhere. Somebody said that. I don't know how true these statements are, or did they cancel it? I'll just have a quick look on my phone after this frame actually. I'll tell you at the end. Oh, well that's not run far enough, has it? I could have done with the cue ball just running on a little bit. It's okay, but it could have been better. Definitely could have been better.
Colours remaining on the table now.
That's there. I'm very much in no man's land though here. I'm probably inclined to take it into the corner. I'm much better at playing into the corner than I am into the middle, I'll tell you that.
Just wants to sink this into the left corner pocket.
Going for players at pace. Nope, not quite.
Not the quality we'd expect from a player of his skill.
And I've left it over the pocket for him. Well, I don't know about over the pocket, it's actually missable.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
But I highly doubt it will miss. Even Stevens actually. Well, it was Even Stevens before he just came and did that, and it's going to be Even Stevens well and truly once this pink drops, and it has done, and that'll be a poor result for us. 2 apiece, and yeah, so we'll be breaking off in frame 5. So yeah, right, let me have a little look. Let me tell you where the Saudi Arabia tournament went, because somebody said they got awful human rights record. I don't know if that was an official thing or if it was just someone in YouTube comments, but you know. So what happened to the Saudi Arabia snooker? It doesn't really say anything. Oh, Hawkins relishing prospect of Saudi Arabia Odyssey when jet setting world. Well, that was done in 2021, so I'm assuming it was just as a COVID. I don't think it was anything to do with complaints or concerns about going to Saudi Arabia. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's very good that they got snooker to another country. You know, the more countries they get snooker to, the bigger it will become, the more popular it will become, surely. I mean, that is just common sense, though. Not a political thing or anything, I don't really know. I don't really study that sort of thing, politics or whatever. So yeah, I'm certainly not the political history kind of guy. That's not my subject, that's not my strong area, so I don't really know anything like that. But yeah, that's the end of today's episode, guys, and if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like down below. It really helps me out. Subscribe for regular Snooker 19 content. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.